If she is the one who'll break the spell, you must finally learn to love.
Hey, we are talking about Beauty and the Beast. I'm Matthew Fava. This is Matthew Owen.
Hey, what's up?
So, let's make this short and sweet.
Yeah.
What did you think of the look of this film?
So Beauty and the Beast, because we're going from an animated film, an animated Disney classic, to a quote-unquote live-action remake featuring both CGI and live-action characters. As far as the whole entire look, and I think you'll probably agree with me, the world design and especially the town and the village and a lot of the colorful and vibrant scenes looked fantastic. As far as the visual effects, specifically speaking, the classic song "Be Our Guest," that entire scene, beautiful. Some of the castle scenes I felt were a bit too dark. When you get into meeting with the Beast and stuff, it was very blue, very dark, hard to see.
Did you see it in 3D?
And I think no, I did not, and I'm glad I didn't, because I felt like wearing sunglasses in some of those scenes might have been just looking at a black screen.
Okay.
It was very, very dark, and I think some of that was done to potentially hide the fact that the Beast is not the greatest looking CGI character I've ever seen. I think that's my biggest issue, but speaking on visual design in general, art direction, whenever it's not too dark or too blue to make out the minutia, visually speaking, Beauty and the Beast is right up there with Jungle Book as far as really good use of CGI. What did you think as the whole style of it? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it looked like I felt like, by God, they did it. There was a reason to do this, in that they could make it feel like you were watching a Broadway musical, and then the CGI doing all of the servants, all the slaves. They looked fantastic. They looked really great. I watched it in 3D as well, and I didn't want to, but it was the only available one I could see, and I was surprised that I thought it was going to be super dark and blurry, but it looked pretty good. And with 3D, in terms of the, it actually had a purpose, because you felt like you were a guest, especially in that big "Be Our Guest" scene. I mean, there's so much stuff flying around. It was a little bit hectic, that scene, but yeah, the CGI looked great. The Beast was mediocre. He wasn't awful, but it was a bit distracting, and it was definitely the one part of the film I thought was pretty weak.
On that, let's actually hop to performances, because this is a very ensemble but also very lead-centric movie. And on the Beast specifically, how did you think the Beast, who is played by Dan Stevens, you might have seen him in, actually, funny enough, the movie The Guest, which is a thriller that came out last year, I believe, or maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I thought he did a good job, but I thought a lot of his performance was hindered by the fact that he was a CGI character. When it came to that, do you think that practical effects on the Beast would work in 2017? Or no?
That's all I was thinking the entire time, was that, what would this look like, Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf? And I think I would be okay with that. I mean, to bring up my girlfriend again, this is a movie a lot of people bring their girlfriend to.
It was a date night movie for me as well.
She was saying, "What about that guy in Star Wars? He looked okay." I'm like, "Chewbacca?" She's like, "Yeah, whatever." And and I think that they could have very easily just given him fur and widened up the nose, and it would have been a million times better. The biggest problem was that I read about how they filmed it, is that he had to do the performance twice. He had to walk around on stilts. It was very awkward for him. But then they just overlaid CGI anyway and made him react all of the voice dialogues. It was very clunky. It was very obvious. And Emily Watson had nothing really to work with. I think I mentioned this to you, that when she goes into the library for the first time and she sees all these books, you see the first time she's actually acting against something. She's like, oh, I actually get to react to a room. And that was probably the most powerful moment. And for a movie that is all about the chemistry between two unlikely lovers, not having an actor there for her to work with, I thought was a huge mistake.
I said this in my actual review. I didn't do it for a 90s kid, but I said that Beauty and the Beast is a romance, and for that to work, I have to believe in the humanity of both of the characters, and that's the whole point of Beauty and the Beast, is don't judge a book by its cover. The Beast is not a beast, he's actually a person. But when the candlestick and the teacup are more human than the Beast by design, I lost it all there. Now, I will say that Emma Watson, besides the singing, I think she did a fantastic job with what she was given. I thought that Emma Watson was good. I thought she was a very good Belle. Whether the chemistry was on both the leads or not, I thought that she inhabited the character of Belle very well. But for my favorite, I would actually say the ensemble of all those little characters, like, Candlestick and all of them, they all came together, especially in the ending when they're all kind of doing their ensemble piece. I felt them as a cast were the best part of the movie. Gaston and all them. If I have one standout, it is Josh Gad as LaFleur, or whatever his name is. But I think as a cast and an ensemble movie, it was very well done. Maybe just a few missteps in some characters, but as an entire thing, very, very well casted. What did you think performance-wise, just the actors?
Yeah, I agree big time. I thought that they wanted this Belle to be a little more strong, whereas the animated version was a bit kind of flighty and loopy and just very disconnected. And I think that she was a good choice for this. I feel like there maybe could have been a better one, but I racked my brain the whole ride home and I couldn't think of who would have been better. So in this sense, I think she did a really great job with what she had. But overall, I mean, there were some real powerhouses voice acting these creations. Ewan McGregor was pretty amazing as Gaston.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes, I mean, and I thought that Ewan McGregor playing a French guy would have been so distracting, but he nailed it. And Sir Ian McKellen was like, that guy was bought into the whole performance.
Well, and the whole thing that comes to Beauty and the Beast is that as a movie critic and a guy who does a lot of movie stuff, I often see a lot of trailers, I see a lot of teasers, and for some reason, Beauty and the Beast was just something I missed all of the marketing for. I had no clue who was in the movie besides Emma Watson, and I knew Dan Stevens because I think I saw a feature. So in the end, when they all, if you've seen Beauty and the Beast, this follows the source material almost to the T. So when they all reveal their actual characters, I was like, oh wow, really? That was Ian McKellen, and that was. If you don't know, they are so wrapped up in their roles and they do the voices so well that just like any other really great animated movie, you don't see the actor until you actually see the actor. And I thought that was the most powerful point, is that I've seen so many Ian McKellen films. I know his voice from anything. And for me to not see it was amazing. It was really, really good.
Agreed. All right. Now for the music.
Yeah, the big one.
This, I think they had a couple missteps with an overuse of auto-tune on a few bits. I think there's especially the song "The Beast is Singing," which is one of the 3 additional songs. I felt at some parts he sounded like Lil Wayne.
Yeah, just talky.
Yeah, and it was like too obvious with that. And like the singing performances weren't necessarily there. They were definitely strong enough, but in terms of the actual the dancing. And how many live actors they use in the town scenes, I thought was very whimsical, and I felt very swept away in a way that I wasn't really prepared to feel about watching a musical.
I think a lot of the big ensemble things, going back to, like I said, about performances, I think when you have the entirety of the cast really putting their all into a piece or a song, I think it does way better. The beginning in the village, that opening scene very much pulls you into the whole entire style. And then once you get to the lead-only songs, like you mentioned, the Beast song, that's where it starts to dip down. And in that, I wish there would have been maybe 1 or 2 less songs than there were, because I think the staples, the Be Our Guests, the Tale as Old as Time, those all really resonate, and you don't need to add just extra ones to have more singing, especially when they're lead-onlys, and really the music, the orchestration backs up more people singing than it does just one. So I think the entirety cast songs, the ensemble songs were great. Emma Watson, like we said, a little bit of auto-tune. You could definitely hear it in the beginning, but better than some of the other actresses I've seen attempt to sing. But coming down to it, I was surprised that they nailed it that well. I've seen a lot of musicals, Les Mis, Sweeney Todd, the movie adaptations, and oftentimes you see actors struggling, just truly struggling to do the music. And Beauty and the Beast felt like they weren't struggling. They just didn't get as high as they could have, but they did a damn good job, which I was impressed by.
There you go. I think that about does it.
Yeah, I mean, unless there was anything in specific, Beauty and the Beast, I think, if there's one thing, I have to give Disney props for sticking to the source material, especially with something like this, especially with the things they've been doing. You've heard about Mulan having all these changes. You look at Jungle Book, and that was changed a little bit. I think sticking to the source material is the smartest thing that Disney can do at this point, and I have to give them props for not overtly modernizing it in like a weird way. There's some weird stuff in there. It's not even worth bringing up, but they really stuck to what made the original cool. And I think that is definitely commendable from Disney, because they could have done it a completely weird way, but they stuck to their guns and remade it truly. And I think that's worth it.
I would say this movie made me finally sold me on the idea of remaking these in a live action style. I thought there was no reason to do it, but I think that the technology and the passion that they put into this worked well enough that I would recommend this movie just to just about anybody. So that's going to do it. You can find me on Twitter at GameThinkTalk. And Matthew Owen, where can they find you?
You can find me at SuperGamecast64 on Twitter. That links to my podcast, which you can find on iTunes and Twitter. We're a gaming comedy show.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Also, 90s Kid, a 90skid.com, don't forget.
You betcha. They'll be watching this there. Bye for now.